powered by Riverside FM.
Before the conspiracies ever started, Denver International Airport was already weird. A runaway budget, a failed baggage system that actually shredded luggage, art that looks like a fever dream, and an underground network that's larger than some small towns. The truth is strange enough, and we haven't even gotten to the conspiracy theories yet. Tonight on Newsworthy, 2 words and 2 question marks.
I'm Steve, and I've not seen a conspiracy that I don't like.
I'm Jerry, the analytical skeptic of the group that says, show me the proof.
I'm Brett. I'm the mediator between the two elders and usually cast the deciding vote.
We weren't just looking for a house. We wanted our forever home.
That's when we called Ed Lockett, USA Mortgage. He helped us see the bigger picture.
Ed showed us how the right loan could fit our family's future, not just today's needs.
And he made sure every detail was clear, so we felt confident planting roots.
Hi, I'm Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. Let's find the loan that makes your forever home possible. Call me today at 502-680-0953.
Woo! We are here, guys and girls.
Here we are.
Oh, we need some cheering, don't we? We need some cheering. Sorry. Yeah. Does that make you feel better, Jerry?
No,
No? Not even a little?
no
Not even a
fake
little?
canned applause doesn't really blow my skirt up.
Well, there's so much wrong with that. First of all these people in the audience that you see over here, you don't like them, and the fact you're wearing a skirt. It is disturbing.
Do you have a
to me.
problem with my kilt?
It's not a kilt. It was a kilt. It was a kilt, not a skirt.
Kilts or skirts?
No, that's not facts. Ask a Scottish. I'll tell you.
I think I understand the problem. I saw you trying to peek up underneath it earlier and your eyes got large. So, yeah, we understand now.
Ooh, man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
Sometimes that's your... I'll stop there.
Thank you. PG show, Jerry, PC. First of all, we start the show with an apology.
We do.
Completely on me. I just realized today, as we were going through the testing for tonight's episode, that I didn't do an Encounters episode last week.
Surely not.
Just
Say it
missed
ain't
it.
so, Joe.
I just missed it. And part of that is because we are a 2-man now. Brett is off having his toe hair waxed, which is weird to me, but he's busy. So we are a 2-man operation. We do not have production staff. We do not have... I got an exciting announcement that is kind of cool that I want to bring up here in just a second. But we don't have a group of people. It's me and you.
Yeah.
And
We're it.
and quite frankly, last Wednesday, we meet on Encounters Weeks to discuss this episode, the next week's episode, hopefully to give you guys a better product. But I have been so busy. I'm a realtor by trade. Anybody need help in Central Kentucky, please don't hesitate to look me up. Call me. I'd be happy to help you. But I've been very busy this last couple of weeks, and I just ran out of time. And when I ran out of time, it lost my brain, and I apologize. So it's on me. Sorry for no encounters this week. If that hurt your feelings, I deeply apologize.
We will make it up to them with a quality of this episode that's more than sufficient for 2 weeks.
I hope
mean,
so.
The girth alone, that will...
The breast of our knowledge, is that what you're saying, Jerry?
Kind of. Yeah, that's kind of...
That's breath, isn't it? The breath of our knowledge. What is that
There
word?
you go.
What am I looking for?
I'm not for sure.
I don't know.
I thought girth worked really well.
You just like saying that word, don't you?
Yep, I do.
Well, guys, we appreciate you being here. Our show continues to evolve, continues to try to get better every time. So, we want you to reach out to us. We want you to interact with us. We've got a new thing coming up with our bonus story. We're going to be starting to ask you for your stories. If you send them to our website, newsworthywithsteveandjerry.com, all one word.
Click the contact button.
Click
You're
the
there.
contact us button. Send us your story. We're going to use those as our bonus story. We do a bonus story at every episode. We're going to pick the best story we get submitted. We're going to give you a name shout out. You're going to get to hear the whole thing on this show, and we'd appreciate any of that. So send those stories.
Do we want to give them any criteria, guidelines? Just you basically
it's
stay
our
within our
stuff.
genre, right?
Yeah.
So anything macabre, mysterious, out of this world.
Out of this world, ghost story, knock under the bed, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Any of that.
We love it. Creepier the better, because then
Absolutely.
Jerry really likes it. So I'm going to say this. It hasn't happened yet. You know a little bit about it. I get to see very soon what a real production team looks like.
Yep.
I'm excited for it. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know any of the details. But very soon, you're going to see my dumbass face all over TV. Or at least all over internet. And I don't know how they're going to market it. But it'll be fun. And I don't want to give away too many details. But they'll be coming. By the next episode, it'll be done.
That's
So,
one heck of a tease.
isn't it?
All that and nothing. No explanation. Nothing.
Well, that's good. Just
You
say,
do so.
let's just suffice it to say.
Suffice it.
Let's,
Suffice it. There's no
Suffice it.
R in the word.
thank you. Robin gets on me all the time. for that. Suffice it to say
Right.
that within the next 6 months or so, it's going to be Steve and Brad Pitt in the next big blockbuster.
Yeah. Now you're just making crap up.
They see this
Yeah.
beautiful face, these guns.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be hard for them to say, you know what? We need you to do a few more things for us,
Which
Yeah.
is,
like acting and.
I've got my
being
3-year-old
model.
grandson, by the way, walking around saying, when the sun's out, the guns are out.
Jeez.
3 years old.
Now his daddy could say that, or at least used to be able
Honestly.
to say that.
Yep.
My son could say that.
Very much so.
Me and you can't say that anymore. Anywho, tonight's episode is one of my absolute favorites.
It's a fun one.
It is a fun one. It is if you go deep down the rabbit hole, it gets to be a kind of scary one, really. Depending
so.
on how far you want to go, or it can make you very angry because of the ridiculous amount of waste. It definitely is one that makes you go, I think.
On several things. I agree.
Yeah. And it's one that you and I are not going to agree on. So
We're probably not that far apart.
probably, but we're also not.
The only thing is will you admit it? Because you almost always agree with me. You just have such a hard time admitting it. You're like, yeah, I can't really say that. But later on, you have a couple beers and you're like, yeah, you're 100% right.
Listen, here's the thing.
See, most of our audience doesn't know that, but that's what Steve always ends up saying.
That's not what always happens.
No, not
it's
all,
quite
like
the opposite.
99%.
It's like 99% the other way. We're done. We're off the air. And Jerry's like, shoo, I couldn't carry that facade much longer. I agree with you 100% because you're the man.
That's happened like never.
Like always.
Never.
I can't get drunk enough to make your head swell anymore. I'm just saying. And some days I drink a lot of wine on the show. Tonight,
Yep.
not so much, but a lot of times. So, do you want to tell the folks what we're talking about tonight, Mr. Jerry?
Tonight, we are talking about the Denver airport and some of the theories. I won't even call them conspiracy theories. I'll let the rest of the world do that. But the theories that go along with it. And I guarantee if you were to ask 100 people what the Denver airport is known for, I would bet the vast majority of them are going to say something about some of the scary things attributed to it. An example of someone saying it's scary, Macaulay Culkin. You remember him?
Yep.
The little kid, the little bitty blonde-haired guy from Home Alone. He once tweeted that the Denver airport was the scariest place he had ever been in his entire life. It's one of those places where the more you learn about it, the stranger it gets. And I'm not even talking about the theories, the conspiracy theories. I mean the real documented stuff. The city council meetings, the budget sheet, construction report, kind of strange. Let's start with one of the simple questions. Why does this thing even exist? The Denver International Airport sits on 53 square miles of land. 53 square miles. To put that in perspective, that's larger than Manhattan. That's larger than San Francisco. It's larger than Miami. It is by far the largest airport property in the United States of America. And yet, when Denver first proposed building it, they already had an airport, Stapleton, just a few miles from downtown. Now, it was an older one. It wasn't perfect. It was working. It was close. It was downtown Denver. It was established. Expanding it would have been dramatically cheaper. Now, that was part of the reason they didn't. There was limited room for expansion with where it was. So what did they decide to do? They decided to build an airport 25 miles outside the city. 25 miles outside the city. Now, the official answer as far as a reason for that is a mix of politics, noise complaints, expansion limitations. There was some legitimate. But 25 miles, are you kidding me?
Well, can I interject
Sure.
for just a second? I used to live in Fort Morgan, Colorado.
Not far away.
100 miles east of Denver.
Okay.
And that out there was considered a bedroom community. So for those folks, maybe 25 miles doesn't seem like a lot. But you and I were talking over dinner. That's half. We are literally 25 miles from Lexington and 35 miles from Louisville. So.
And no one would consider putting a Lexington or Louisville airport in Little Lawrenceburg, Kentucky.
No, exactly.
Way too far away.
So I just want to point that out. That was the one thing that I always felt was really weird when I lived there because everything was so expensive in Fort Morgan. And it was that way because it was considered, and I'm using air quotes, a bedroom community of Denver.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Amazing how that works.
Yeah.
When I lived in Fredericksburg, Virginia for years, we were 50 miles south of Washington, D.C., 50 miles north of Richmond, Virginia. And that's all we were, was basically a bedroom community for those two cities, mainly Washington. There was a ton of government workers there. But, yeah, things were very expensive in Fredericksburg with it being 50 miles away from Washington, D.C., just because it was a bedroom community.
When I was very young, working for Big Lots, I worked 2 jobs. I worked at I think that was the Lexington store.
Okay.
3 days a week, and I worked at the Corbin store 2 days a week. And some days those switched. And I lived in Nicholasville. Now, you ain't kidding. I can't imagine doing that 5 days a week.
Yeah.
There's no way. It's just not going to happen ever.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
It's just, for me in my mind and people that live around here, 100 miles or even 25 miles seems a lot further away here than it does there.
True.
You know.
Yeah.
When I lived in Idaho, the nearest Walmart, and people would go to it every week, 142 miles away.
Yeah.
That was just a weekly trip. So
I can't imagine the feeling when you're almost home and you realized you forgot the loaf of bread, a gallon of milk. Now, there was much closer options but the point is,
much more
you
expensive
forgot something.
options.
Holy crap. What if it was something that wasn't carried at the local Fast Mart or wherever you went? There was a lot of things, that was a once every week, 2 week trip?
It was, for most people, a once every 2 week trip, and because they had to go across the mountains to Missoula, Montana. That was the nearest Walmart. Now, there was a local, like, IGA type store. It was a smaller grocery store, and you could get most everything there.
Right.
But you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Those
people had to be so friggin' happy when Amazon come along.
Yeah, right.
Suddenly you're able to sit at your computer and order what you want.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off on a
No,
tangent.
you're fine.
I was just out west. Space is different.
Even so, 25 miles is still a long way.
It is.
For that many people to have to travel every time they're coming in and then going to the air hotel.
Imagine a
when they leave.
Uber bill if you just needed to get an
Exactly.
Uber to a hotel or something.
Yeah, had to be huge. We talked about some of the reasons why it was at least some distance away, not necessarily 25 miles away, but yeah, politics, noise complaints, expansion limitations. Now, the real story is even messier. Denver voters approved the original project by a very, very narrow margin, and almost immediately the whole thing turned into a political knife fight. Lawsuits, environmental objections, county disputes, and a ballooning budget that made taxpayers furious. We'll come back to that ballooning budget here in a minute. The original estimate was around $2.5 billion. Final cost, $4.8 billion, almost double, 92%. That's just where it starts. If you ask people why the Denver International Airport became a magnet for conspiracy theories, they'll often point to the art or the underground tunnels. That's the two big ones, probably.
Or the fact that runways resemble the swastika.
Some people say that. But
That
do you
is
think
a-
that airport,
No, that is if given the space,
Yes.
that is a normal flow for an
it
airport.
really is.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can see a little bit, but no, there's several airports to me that when you look at it visually, just go to Google Earth and look at it. And there's several airports that, well, you got a bunch of long straight lines. Think about them, and some of you're going to be parallel and tangent to each other. You can kind of be like, yeah, kind of, but there's several airports that resemble it far more than Denver.
And quite frankly, just to get into the weeds just a hair, the reason that airports do that is because they need multiple runways that go all directions into the wind. Planes take off into the wind.
Yep.
That dictates which side of the airport they take off
And
from.
as much as possible, coming to a central point because you, as much as possible, want to
Exactly.
have your passengers all originating from one area.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we talked about the art, the underground tunnels. That is where a lot of the conspiracy theories come from, but they started way before then. The construction phase itself was an absolute disaster. Let's talk about the automated baggage system. It was supposed to be the crown jewel of the airport. This thing was hyped as a technological marvel. It was going to be fully automated, lightning fast, capable of moving luggage across the airport without human intervention. It was supposed to be the scale that every other baggage system at every airport was going to be modeled after for years to come. The problem? It never worked, ever.
Not even close.
Not even close. During testing, bags were shredded, tossed off conveyors, routed to the wrong terminals, in some cases literally launched into the air. Engineers spent years trying to fix it. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars until the city finally gave up and shut the entire thing down. To this day, the Denver International Airport uses a mostly manual baggage system.
As do most airports in the United States,
Absolutely.
in the world.
Then there were the contractors. Over 100 subcontractors worked on the airport. Several were fired mid-project. Now, that's not entirely unusual for a massive build, but the scale of the turnover was. Too many people, too many hands, too many conflicting plans. It created the perfect environment for rumors that someone must be hiding something. And when you combine the cost overruns, the political infighting, and a failed mega project, you get a public that's really very suspicious before the airport ever opened.
Jerry,
Yes.
I'm going to quote a line from one of the most popular movies of the 90s because it holds true to this topic right now.
Okay.
The movie, and I'm going to see if you can guess it, which I know you won't. You'll never guess it in a million years because you're lame.
Because it's not a good movie. Okay.
That's
go
an
ahead.
amazing movie. You're just lame.
Okay.
You don't think they paid $10,000 for a hammer, do you?
I have no idea.
Independence Day. When they
You're
were
right.
talking about Area 51.
I remember the line, but yeah.
That's how they got the funds to build Area 51. Just saying, so you know, just so the audience knows where we're about to go on a ride.
There you go. We talked about the cost overruns and all the problems. Did we mention that this thing was more than 90% over budget and 16 months overdue when it was finally finished? Now, the art, the architecture, some of the symbolism. This is the part that most people are probably familiar with. Inside the Denver International Airport were two massive murals by the artist Leo Tanguma. One was called Children of the World Dream of Peace. The other one was called In Peace and Harmony with Nature. Sounds like calm, relaxing titles, right? Now, he was a Chicago muralist whose work focused on unity, anti-war themes, and environmental stewardship. His stated meaning was hopeful, a world healing from violence and ecological destruction. But the imagery was very intense.
Have you seen those murals?
Gas mask soldiers, burning forests, children mourning, a sword being hammered into a plowshare. It's very dramatic, very symbolic, and absolutely not what most people would expect to see being depicted on an airport wall. And when you put dramatic art in a place that's already surrounded by rumors, people start reading into it. Now, if you caught it early on when I was introducing it, I said inside the airport were 2 murals. In 2018, the officials took them down during a major terminal remodel. They're now safely locked away in storage, but they have said they plan on bringing them out when the remodel is finished and putting them back up. Supposedly, these things are coming back out of storage.
Yeah, right.
I would agree. Then there's the capstone. That's the granite marker near the main terminal. It includes a time capsule and a dedication to something called the New World Airport Commission. Now, if that's not a perfect way to start getting rumors and conspiracy theories started, I have no idea what it was. The name has fueled decades of speculation, but the truth is simple. It was a group of local civic leaders who helped organize the airport's opening. It was not a shadow organization, not a global cabal, just a very poorly named committee. The capstone also includes Masonic symbols, which is actually very normal. Masonic lodges have laid ceremonial stones for public buildings for over a century. But again, when you put it all together, it's not necessarily any one thing. It's when you begin to put it all together. The dramatic art, the mysterious names, the giant airport in the middle of nowhere. It's a recipe for myth making almost.
You know, we have something similar, which remind me, because we have something similar happening right now in today's world.
To what? The airport? The capstone? Okay.
Similar to the
Gotcha.
airport.
What, off the air? Or later on in the show?
In the show.
Okay.
At the end of the show. Remind me so I don't forget.
I will. We talked about the art. Staying with the art, let's get into sculptures. Or not sculptures, plural. One particular sculpture. Outside the airport stands one of the strangest sculptures you're ever going to see. Official name, Blue Mustang. Unofficial name, Blucifer. You can imagine where that combination come from. The blue horse and Lucifer. They call it Blucifer. It is a 32-foot tall blue horse that has glowing red eyes, rearing back as if it's about to charge. It's dramatic. It's imposing. And honestly, it's a little terrifying just to look at. But the strangest part is maybe the story behind it. The artist, Luis Jimenez, was actually killed during the sculpture's construction by the sculpture. A piece of the horse fell, severed an artery in his leg. He died from the injury. Now, the glowing red eyes, officially, they are a tribute to his father's neon shop that he grew up working at. That's what he said from the beginning. Doesn't look that way. The sculpture was chosen to represent the wild spirit of the American West, not a demon, not a harbinger, not a symbol of apocalypse. But the public reaction was immediate and intense. People hated it. People feared it. A lot of people joked about it and eventually embraced it as part of the bizarre identity of the airport itself. Blucifer has become a cultural icon and a conspiracy magnet. Now let's go underground. The Denver International Airport absolutely has tunnels, huge ones. They're used for the underground train system, for baggage transport. Remember that hundreds of $1 million system that we talked about earlier? All that required huge tunnels underground. There's utilities underground in some of the tunnels. There's mechanical infrastructure. There's office spaces in some of the underground tunnels. These tunnels are real. They're documented. They're enormous. They actually cover miles beneath the airport. What's not documented are the rumors that there are extra levels, that they're sealed off bunkers, that there are FEMA headquarters, Illuminati command centers, secret detention facilities. None of that has ever been verified, but that certainly doesn't stop the conspiracy theories. The DIA officials, Denver International Airport officials, have repeatedly addressed the rumors. They've even given tours of many of the underground areas. Their stance is consistent. The tunnels exist. They were part of the original blueprints, and they are exactly what they say they are, infrastructure. Even so, the scale of the underground space is unusual. Most airports, I would say all of major airports, have tunnels. DIA has tunnels. When you combine that with the airport's remote location and the chaotic construction history, people quickly begin imagining what else might be down there. Now, have you ever heard the phrase, if you can't beat them, join them? When Stacy Stegman was hired as the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communication, and that was in 2012, that's exactly what she decided to do. When she was brought on, there was a lot of talk among the people running the airport, the board of directors, about the name that the airport was quickly acquiring, with all the conspiracy theories being attributed to the airport. She actually bought into it and decided to lean into it. She thought the airport's reputation was part of its charm. So instead of fighting the conspiracies, she decided to lean into them. Their marketing campaigns openly joke about lizard people, Illuminati bunkers, secret tunnels, alien headquarters. They put up posters actually saying things like, yes, we are hiding something. They install talking gargoyles that banter with passengers. They've turned the airport's weird reputation into a brand, and it worked. The Denver International Airport went from being the subject of ominous conspiracy videos to being one of the most self-aware airports in the world. So, that's the factual foundation. It's a massive airport. It was built far from the city. It was plagued by construction disasters from the very beginning. It was decorated with dramatic, eerie, weird, scary art. It was filled with tunnels. It was crowned by deadly sculpture. It has been marketed with tongue-in-cheek references to global conspiracies. Everything that I've covered is documented, confirmed, and part of Denver Airport's real history. And now that we've covered the factual side, it's time for part 2, where we explore how all of this became fuel for one of the most enduring modern myths, the conspiracies, the theories, the cultural storytelling that has transformed the airport from a transportation hub into a symbol of something much stranger. But first, a word from Ed Locke.
Tax season is here, and that refund check feels like a fresh start.
Exactly. But instead of splurging, imagine using it to pay down debt or even as a down payment on a new home.
That's what we did. We called Ed Locke at USA Mortgage, and he showed us how our refund could open doors we didn't think were even possible.
Ed explained the options clearly, whether it's reducing what you owe or building towards home ownership. He makes the numbers work for you.
Hi, I'm Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. Your tax refund can be more than extra cash. It can be the key to financial freedom or your next home. Let's talk about the best path for you. Call me today at 502-680-0953.
Man, you covered a lot of stuff, Jerry.
Yep.
You know what you didn't cover?
What?
Lizard
Rumors,
people.
Yep. I talked about them. I mentioned them.
You didn't cover the fact that there is a proposed entire alien human cooperative base under the Denver airport, which is some of the rumors. It's there's a lot. There's a lot of the things that you covered, all documented, as you said. The New World Airport Commission doesn't even exist. That's not a thing.
Not a real thing.
I wrote for you in big, while you were covering all your stuff, did you get to read that?
I saw that.
In big writing, I sent Jerry the reason that all of this stuff is known. And that is, if you want to hide something, you hide it in plain sight. You
Not
just
a
make it.
fake commission that never existed.
Well, yeah, but you are openly saying what this place is all about, which is a home base, if you will, for the New World Order. The bunkers that are under this place. First of all, I'm sorry. Let's talk about let me digress. Let me go back to the money. We were talking a minute ago about the finances before, and you were just happily talking about how it was an overrun and it was a big deal and there was some fired people and it had some cost overruns and it took a little longer than they thought. Dude, $2.5 billion is not a cost overrun. That's not an oversight. Even in our federal government, that's not an oversight. That's ludicrous amounts of money, which is why I said what I said about the $10,000 hammer. They paid one of the contractors, initial contractors of this facility, $400 million to go away. Now, if you want to fire someone, yes, they did.
They paid several contractors $400 million on the luggage system that was eventually done away. That wasn't one contractor.
They said that is the type of money you pay for people to go away with NDAs, with people to go away and not talk about whatever it is that they've done. To make them go away, you simply fire them. Have a good day. Here's a 2-week severance pay. You don't pay people $400 million to watch them walk away. That is ludicrous. Ludicrous. You're not going to convince me. And back to the videos and the tours and all that. Absolutely. I'm sure they would do that. If I'm hiding something in plain sight, I want you to come see it too. That way I can quell anything and make it all a big joke. What they don't tell you is immediately after the tour leaves, what really gets back to happening in these places. It's crazy. You're looking at me funny.
I'm just wondering what you're going to tell us is actually happening.
Oh, well, in my estimation, okay, so this is one of the conspiracy theories that I absolutely, Jerry, you and I make a lot of fun of me. You think I'm silly and all these things. This is going to be one of those theories that is going to be conspiracy fact in a matter of years. I have no doubt.
First of all, which one? Because there are hundreds of conspiracy theories with the Denver International Airport. So which one are you saying is going to be proven to be factual?
Yes.
Exactly.
The only one that I think that probably isn't is the lizard people. I find it hard to believe that. Other than that there are bunkers here for the elite, absolutely I can believe that. That there is a situation where there is a command and the only thing that makes me not believe that there's command and control for our government is because as a crow flies, this isn't that far from Cheyenne Mountain, which is down in Colorado Springs. So
100 miles away,
yeah,
roughly.
It's 90, I think, because there was a rumor going that they had tunnels all the way from here to here. A 90-mile tunnel, just for the uninformed, would take decades to create. That would be unheard of. That would be a feat of, what's the word? Legendary performances.
Herculean effort would begin to do that.
However, if you wanted to do that, it probably cost about $2.5 billion. I'm just saying. So
it would cost way more than that.
You think
a
so?
90-mile tunnel underneath the mountains of the Colorado Rockies?
Yeah, probably.
Way more than that.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, the Denver airport's actually in the plains before it gets to the mountains. But
I think I'd have to go through part of the Rockies to get
the Cheyenne.
Yes, yeah. I think so.
I just cannot imagine a scenario, another project. Oh, wait. There is another project with huge cost overruns that something's being built in the basement that we don't want people to know about.
There's many of them.
No, I know, but there's a big one that caused a recent uproar very recently. That was supposed to be all paid for by donors, but we're going to get a nice big fat check from the United States citizenry on the east wing of the White House and the big freaking grand ballroom, that the last thing in the world we need.
After we tore down, what was there? Yeah.
150, 200 years. How long's it been since it was burnt? 225 years of history? We're 250 years old.
No, it was burnt, I thought, in early 1800s, was it not?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the British built it somewhere around 1812, burned it in that time period, I think.
So, is the government capable of using one thing to cover another? Absolutely they are. So do you think that I believe for a second that there's just luggage and tram rails down there? Absolutely, I do not. You don't go $2 billion over budget because you and the few contractors are having a quabble. I just don't believe it. I don't buy it.
And I would, to refute that, I would
Be wrong.
bring up the rail system, the fast rail system in California that we have spent how many billions on, and we have what, less than 2 miles of track
There's a
in 25 years overrun?
there's a big difference in that project and the airport in Denver.
What?
The fact that most
Denver
of the
got
money,
completed. Denver's working. The
Well,
rail's done
it's not
nothing.
completed. They're still working on it. They're in phase 3 at the moment.
Well, you constantly update things, but I'm saying they finished the airport and got it working. The railway never got anywhere near to working.
Also, the artist that did the murals, he said that it was supposed to represent the power of love over the power of conflict.
He said he was trying to show both extremes. So I get kind of what he said he was trying to do.
If
but
I had a toddler,
you
I
don't
would
want him
want-
to see this.
I wouldn't want him to
It
see
was
it.
scary. Very scary. I totally agree.
And if there was nothing wrong with the murals, as the airport said, if there was nothing leading about the murals, as the airport said, then why pull them out? Even if they're so big and they're so beautiful and they're so much a part of what you are.
They are remodeling that part of the airport is their explanation. Now, would they say that no matter what? Yes.
Do you want to bet $50 on whether they ever see the light of day again?
No,
Exactly.
I would not.
Exactly.
They're horrendous looking.
They're horrible, scary. Mike, our favorite pilot that we know, and Stephanie both have said that those things were terrifying.
What did they say about Lucifer as well? Are you going to
Mike said that Lucifer was the scariest thing he's ever saw. If you see it at night, it is horrific. The eyes, and they could say it was a tribute to his father all they want to. If that's not a symbol of what our government tends to believe in now, I don't know what is. Now, I get it. Denver Broncos, you have a whole thing with horses. I get it. But why do you want to make your horse blue? And why do you want to make your horse have glowing red eyes of all the different choices? Not only that, it kills its creator. It's 32 feet long. Tall, I guess. There is nothing about that. When you see it, I'm sure that it's lit up. But the eyes will haunt you.
I agree.
It's insane. There's nothing about this airport that screams family fun entertainment. In fact, if I had to take a flight and go on a layover, I'd probably go to this airport just because I'd try to sneak around. I'd probably get arrested for trying to go into places I shouldn't, honestly. Now, if you want to hide something that is a big project in plain sight, what do? You acknowledge what it is you're hiding and you make a fun of it. It's the same reason that they do the things with aliens that they do, in my opinion. They put the people in with the ridiculous information so that they tell all this ridiculous stuff so that they can come back later and say, well, you believed him, you're an idiot, because that was our plant. So to me, it's the exact same thing. There is zero chance in my brain that there is not stuff under this airport that the U.S. government does not want its citizenry to know.
Well, sure.
Period.
I know you're going to tell us about the proof you have of that, so by all means, go ahead.
The proof is the fact they were $2 billion. That's $23 billion in today's money.
And that's proof that the $2 billion.
Absolutely. Is to me.
Let me interrupt for a second.
Sure.
If that's proof, if $2 billion is proof of that, please tell me what this is proof of. The California High-Speed Rail project is significantly over budget, with its full phase 1 cost estimates ranging from 126 to 231 billion. Original estimates 33 to 45. So this thing is roughly 190 billion over budget. So if 2 billion is proof of nefarious government buildings underground, please explain to me what 190 billion is proof of.
Even worse.
What?
All the things. Now you have opened up an entire ability for all of it to be factual.
My point of bringing all this up is $2 billion, unfortunately, knock on wood, it's horrible to say this, it's not that big of a deal when you look at government overruns.
A trillion? Just shy of a trillion?
$2 billion. No, $2 billion is nowhere near a trillion.
No, the second number.
I'm saying, but you're saying that this is a huge deal, and I'm saying, sadly, heaven forbid, it's not. We have road projects that go $2 billion over. So the $2 billion is a crap ton of money. Don't think I'm saying that it's not, and it should. People should lose their careers over this.
Yes.
We talked about earlier. In many cases, it's not even the contractor's fault. In many cases, it's because we decide what we're going to do. We hire contractors to build a project. 6 months later, politicians being politicians, we change our minds. We go back and say, well, we'll revise the project, build this instead. That's the biggest reason for cost overruns. Even so, $2 billion is a crap ton of money. Unfortunately, it happens a lot, is all I'm saying.
There's a couple of things on here I want to be clear that I don't follow, that I don't buy into. I don't think that this is a place where lizard people are experimenting on humans. Okay, I'm not
That's
that
one of
far
the more
out.
popular
It is.
theories.
I also don't believe that in the swastika theory of what it looks like. That is one of those things that it looks like it, and a person who doesn't understand the airport system would believe that, but it's not. That is simply to have as many airports available to fly in and out of as possible. The one thing that I also don't believe that this is a Freemason thing. I don't think the Freemasons are Masons. That's typically what they do. They put capstones. They give a little bit of money so they can put a stone down. That's what they do.
And they did that here.
And they did that
donated
here.
a few $1 million, and they got to put their stone, and it's got a couple of Masonic insignias. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yes.
Imagine that. It'd be like saying, well, I hired a plumber, and he brought a plunger.
Yep.
You know, so those things really don't bother me.
Okay.
The things that really start to grind my gears, however, is the images and the symbolism, thank you, on the stuff up that Lucifer is a good example. The murals, another good example. I don't buy it. I don't buy his vision. And I'm a person, although not esteemed or of great knowledge of art, I do study art. I do like art. I do try to. Robin, on at least 3 different occasions on our last cruise, found me just staring at art, trying to figure it out, trying to understand what it meant, what the author, or in this particular case, the sculptor was trying to convey in their work. I understand how to do that, and although I'm not very good at it, you're not going to convince me that anything in those murals was about peace and love and not about a one-world government, not about a military takeover of the world, not about children dying. It's very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Lucid, in my opinion. I would not want my kids to see that at a young age.
So what is it? What do you think they were trying to accomplish with the sculpture, with the murals? What was the purpose?
I think that was a nod. I think that was another in plain sight type thing. Everything
Nod to what?
That this could be a facility that is going to be used in a catastrophe. That's what the underground, all the underground stuff is about. Cheyenne Mountain's right up the 90 miles airborne, but this is a good middle of the country spot that's far away from most what they would consider initial nuclear explosions if someone were to attack us on a nuclear level. And I know that's an old way of thinking maybe, but I think people have forgotten just how devastating and total nuclear war would be. So you have to find places that can be secured. This is a good example of one of those places that could be secured. Now, that's all speculation. Don't let me say I have facts to that. It's speculation. But you don't spend almost $1 trillion digging under an airport and
It's
not
not a
having
trillion, it's 2.5 billion.
Yep, that was the original number, and then there was the total.
4.8.
Yeah, so
4 is not close to 1,000.
the $2.8 billion is enough, in my estimation.
I'm just saying it wasn't close to a trillion.
Yeah.
But I'm also still confused with, there's several groups that are tied to most of the conspiracy theories. Some people say the New World Order, which, there's no proof of that even existing to begin with. Some of them say it's Nazi related. Some of them say it's Illuminati related. What group do you think is in charge? What group?
The United States government. I think the rest of it's smoke.
So you think the United States government is doing what?
Building bunkers for
the New World Order?
continuity of government.
And advertising it.
No, I think that this is a public project that they have.
So you
utilized.
put up huge murals that are a nod, as you said earlier, to what it is?
You can't cover up the money now. Back in the day when we were building Greenbrier in West Virginia, you and I as citizens had no idea that that was ever being built, and wouldn't be even knowing it today if it weren't for Freedom of Information Acts. When that was built, we didn't know about the government budget or where this dollar was going. A few people who would dig into that. But now we have the internet. Now we have the ability to know these things, and you can't just, it's the same thing with the East Wing on the White House. We have to figure something out to be able to build this and blow smoke over here so we can do what we need to do right here. It's the same thing in the Denver airport, in my opinion. They did all these things to create the conspiracy because now they can laugh in the conspiracy while they do what they want to do because they think that people like me are nuts. You look at me like I'm nuts.
I
That's okay.
don't know how you tie this stuff together. And now I had no clue that you thought the United States government was behind the New World Order.
No,
Or the
I
Illuminati.
think that they use that and the conspiracies about that. It's the same reason that in some of the episodes about Roswell, as an example, some of the people thought, and rightfully so, maybe, I don't know. They're long gone. I'm not questioning what they thought, but they thought that the government uses not even Roswell, let me speed up a little bit, but that they use the alien conspiracy to test their new stuff. And if we see their new stuff, they put out a few plants saying that must have been an alien. Because now their secret is protected behind the guise of a conspiracy. Does that make sense? Are you following me?
By little tiny thread that's expected to now hold up skyscrapers.
Well, it will. You just got to get on board here. It'll hold up everything.
Okay.
If the government wants to test fly a brand new secret aircraft that nobody knows about, and they fly it out of their test range, and some poor sap sees it, and we've never seen anything like it. The F-117, great example. The B-2, a great example. We've never seen a wing-shaped airplane before. So what do? To hide that secret, to keep that a secret as long as we can, the government sends out a few plants and says, "Did you see that alien the other day?" And that's all it takes to divert the attention away from what the military's doing, because now it's an alien. It's not a brand new military jet. The F-117 Warhawk was a great example of that. Nobody's ever seen that shape before.
Well, another thing they do is they go out into the desert and buy 100,000 acres and put a military base and fly jets where the public is not allowed within 14 miles. So at this point, you can't get photos of the jet or anything close to it.
Well, the problem is there that now, 50 years ago, that was 100% accurate. Can't do that now. My cell phone has a telephotic lens on it.
That'll work for miles?
Absolutely.
Really? Show me a picture you took of miles away.
I will.
They do not exist. Not from a cell phone. They do not exist.
I'm just saying that anybody can go to their local Radio Shack, if those still exist, and buy a camera, or Best Buy, buy a camera that can do those types of pictures
Maybe,
now.
depending upon the topography and if mountains obstruct the view and all that stuff, possibly.
And quite frankly, even if you buy 100,000 acres, if you're test flying a subsonic jet, that takes 23 seconds to get across, 23 minutes to get across. It's very easy to get out of those bounds, is all I'm saying.
And then
And you have to have a great cover story for whatever that is.
Well, I mean, here I guess would be my counter argument. It's not even really counter argument because I think we obviously not only try to hide all of the new stuff, we should, right?
Yes.
We absolutely do not want to put this on the front page of the New York Times and tell our enemies, here's what we're working on,
Or
here's the
our
stage we're
allies.
at. Exactly.
Which brings
So-
me to the point I just want to say, not naming names, but we should not share our joint secrets with any
Well, let's just tell
military
them. Let's
anywhere.
just tell them. If you look at some of the things that are being discussed with the military sharing of information between the United States and Israel right now, it's absolutely scary. We don't
Yes.
want to go too much further into that.
Call,
It becomes
call your
political.
local congressman and tell him to say no.
Yes. But we absolutely do want to hide that as much as possible. We should go to great lengths to try to hide those new technology and keep them secret. I can't remember, and we're constantly coming out with new stuff. I can't remember in the last 10 years, has there been anything, an example of what you're talking about, where the government has said, well, did you see this aliens?
Ballroom.
The ballroom.
We have to build a great big ballroom.
And that was to hide the jets that were flying over the
Nope,
ballroom?
that's to hide the compound that they're building underneath the great
No, he
big
did
ballroom.
not hide nothing. He says that they're building the bunkers underneath it. He says that he wants a command center underneath it.
Well,
They're
they
not
already
hiding
had a
that.
command center under the
He wants a new and improved one.
Of course.
I'm just saying they're not. That's not hiding. There's no
I think
hiding to that.
the last example of that would have been the F-117 or the B-2. I'm not sure which
Well, that's
which
going
was
way
the
back.
last. I'm not sure which one was last, but
Oh, the F-17 was later than the B-2, I think.
yeah, probably.
I think so.
That's that whole stealth technology. Those planes were of designs that we had never seen before.
Absolutely.
The wing design, they had some back in the 60s. They weren't very good back then, but we brought it back and upgraded it, made it very good now. But
In relation to the things that you're alleging that you think is going on, the nefarious government activities, basically in the underground bunkers, that's some of the murals and artwork is nodding to. Why do we not have anyone telling us, here's examples of government, military, government, federal employees that are large groups of people that go into these tunnels, large groups of supplies that are being sent down here? There's absolutely none of that I've heard. Not even
we don't
rumors
have
of
any
that.
of that coming out of Area 51 either.
Oh, yes, we do. Well, first of all, Area 51.
We know that they're going in.
First of all, Area 50, yes, exactly. At the gates, we see them coming in on the outside. But Area 51 is a huge base that we don't have access to. We have access to all the gates into the Denver International Airport.
We don't. You and I don't.
Yes, we do.
We would get turned away.
These are no to the outside perimeter gates.
No.
We
Underneath.
have access to the, but you got to come through these gates into the airport, right?
As far as we know.
Yeah. Well, then how do you get passengers on the planes if you can't get them into
No,
the
I'm
airport?
talking about the other entrances that we don't know about. That's possible.
There's this new thing called Google Earth, and you can zoom in and see where the entrances
I just
are.
want to say for the record that Google Earth is scrubbed when necessary and directed to by the government.
And what do you mean by scrubbed? Give me an example of if they don't want you to see something, how do they scrub it?
They
Exactly. Does any of that exist with the Denver
I
International
don't have it
Airport?
looked.
The answer is no, it does not, because I spent quite a bit of time in the last 2 or 3 days looking at trying to figure out what people are calling swastikas. Again, all you have are some runways, which are long straight lines. Surprise, surprise. They're not curvy lines. They're long straight lines. That's the way runways work. And there's a few of them that are at right angles because, again, you're trying to have a bunch of runways that direct you into a common area where your passengers are located,
And
which
you have-
every airport has. And I looked at several airports, and there was none of it that had been scrubbed that I could see.
Right. So, Jerry,
Yes.
I guess it's that time, isn't it? On the conspiracies.
First of
around,
all, I was supposed to remind you of something at the end.
that was the White House,
Okay,
the
gotcha.
East Wing. Yeah.
Gotcha. These
Yeah.
men.
Again, I think that the fact that they told us what they're building under the East Wing only tells us that they're building something under what they're
Well,
building.
first of all,
under
when
the
you say
East Wing.
they, this is Donald Trump thing. Let's be honest about that. This is not Republican Party. This is not federal government. Donald Trump decided to tear down the East Wing and build a ballroom. Now, he tried to justify it, and this is all my opinion. He tried to justify it by saying, well, we're going to put these command bunkers and blah, blah, blah underneath it. We really need to update them. And I've heard several people say that we do. But that was only a guise to build his magnificent gilded ballroom. That's what he wants. He's trying to create a legacy, in my humble opinion. And that's why he decided to tear down, which, by the way, several judges have said was unconstitutional. He has no right, no ability, and never should have been allowed to do it. That requires congressional approval. Not one person should be able to tear that down and build something new. But that's Donald Trump, not the federal government, that's wanting to do that. And to me, and again, he didn't make any of that secret. The bunkers was, he actually talked about that. It's much more in the ballroom, but he was trying to use that as a justification for the ballroom.
Yeah. And that's really crap.
It was, to me.
For once, Jerry and I 100% agree on something political, which is no
We
one
agree on a
person.
lot.
Yeah, no
We also
one
agree on
person
that.
should absolutely have the right to tear up a monument
Sure.
to our government on
We
a
also
whim.
agree on the other political thing we brought up tonight, and that's the U.S.-Israel military sharing. We 100% agree.
There's
on
a
that.
reason we have military secrets,
Yes,
period, from our allies and from our enemies.
absolutely.
And sometimes, as we have learned with multiple countries throughout the existence of our country, those enemies can become allies, and those allies can at some point become enemies.
There are very good reasons we have secrets.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
no, you're good.
You're saying
I was
it's
going
now
to
time.
ask, it is time to figure out if this is, for you, newsworthy.
And we take it a step further. We say, does it need more or less news coverage?
Correct.
Those are almost two separate questions for me. I absolutely think it needs more news coverage because there are too many questions that haven't been answered. There's too many questions still being asked. Maybe they need to do some more tunnel/bunker tours. I don't know. Do I think there's anything there? No, I don't. I don't think the federal government is involved. I don't think the federal government has got bunkers. I don't think billionaires have safe spaces down here. That's another one of you didn't really get into that. You touched on it, but
I touched
one of
on
the
it.
things is that
Most of them
billionaires
have their places in New Zealand. to be
Yes,
honest.
yeah, somewhere not underneath the Denver International Airport. So I don't really agree. I haven't seen facts of anything, nothing, not even convoys that are supposedly going in that we can't answer as to what. There's really nothing but rumors. So it takes a little bit more than that. At the same time, there's enough questions that aren't answered that I would still say it needs more news coverage.
I absolutely say it needs more news coverage. In Area 51, we have Janet. We just haven't figured out what are getting the people into the basement at the Denver airport yet. Just saying. I actually have pictures. My other pilot buddy, Stephanie, who also listens to the show, every time she's in New Jersey or Las Vegas, she sends me pictures of the Janet jets.
Nice.
I love her for that. Well, for many reasons. She's awesome. But I absolutely think it needs more coverage. Until they explain the $2.8 billion reasons, and they're not going to.
I can explain that.
Yeah. Well,
It's called government was involved, period. Government screws up everything they get involved with and wastes billions.
Here's what I would recommend.
Sure.
And, we don't do politics anymore. We try to steer away from it unless we absolutely can't. But you, as a tax-paying citizen who's listening to this show right now, ought to be pissed that they can waste $2.8 billion and have nothing to show for it.
They have an
They have
airport.
an airport, but the overruns is what I'm talking about. And not even blink like it was nothing. That's your money. You pay taxes on, if you work, you pay taxes on that money.
100% agree. I would also add, if you're pissed about that, get really pissed about the $190 billion on the California high-speed railway that you have absolutely nothing to show for.
Well, you can
It's
go a
not
mile.
working.
You can go a mile, Jerry.
Can you turn around and come back?
No, but you can go
You have
a
nothing to
mile.
show for it, and it's $190 billion.
I'm glad it's
over budget.
California, not Kentucky.
Thank goodness.
Don't go anywhere. We have a great bonus story coming up right after these short ads. And while you're waiting, swing by Newsworthy with StephenJerry.com for updates, past episodes, and all the weird stuff that Jerry's into.
Before those ads roll, make sure you like, follow, and share the show, especially with your weirdest friend. You know who I'm talking about. And hey, if you're thinking about buying a home, refinancing, or just want straight answers, talk to Ed Locke at USA Mortgage. Local, trusted, and ready to walk you through every step. Call 502-680-0953.
And of course, we recommend Smoking Gun Jerky out of Lincoln, Nebraska. Use code CRYPTID10 for an amazing discount on some of the best jerky you will ever taste.
Guys, I have a wonderful, one of the best things about my job as a realtor is I get to see all the cool places all over Kentucky. And our next stop on our bonus story is in Powell County, Kentucky, which is Clay City. Cool little town. We were there went through there just not too long ago. Actually looked at a house there 3 days ago. If you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. Die on your job? Do you work the rest of your entire afterlife? That's the question for the ghostly worker haunting the Nada Tunnel on Highway 77. He was thawing out dynamite when, boom, it exploded and claimed both his life and his dog's. A mysterious orb now flows throughout the tunnel to keep him and his dog company. Other Powell County haunts include the Boone Creek Banshee, a stage 5 clinger that follows families until death. It actually has followed people, and then when they finally release it, it goes back and it follows another person. It's the craziest thing you can ever imagine. It's also responsible for many crashes along Kentucky Highway 213. Also, nearby is Red River Gorge, which is home to a whole nother chapter of paranormal lore. Human trafficking happens in every community in the world. If you see something, say something.
Call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888.
And Jerry, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.